Jin BTS sparks sudden commotion at concert by elevating the status of a security guard. What really happened behind this spontaneous act? Newark. In a matter of seconds, the grand stage full of spotlights turned into an unexpected stage of surprise. Jin BTS, in the middle of roaring cheers from a sea of fans filling the Seokjin_EP tour concert in Newark, United States, performed an act that was not only surprising, but also changed public perception of the role of security guards. With unplanned spontaneity and without a script, Jin handed a microphone to a security guard, then told him to sing the intro of his emotional and deeply personal solo song, Moon. The question now is, was this merely a moment of entertainment, or was there a deeper and symbolic message that Jin intended to convey? Amidst the immense pressure of the concert schedule and the expectations of thousands of eyes, Jin did something that no one in the arena could have predicted. Without announcement or cue, Jin stepped to the edge of the stage and pointed at a security guard. "I want someone who didn't rehearse," he said sharply, yet calmly. At that very moment, he handed the microphone to the guard, who didn't even realize that he was becoming the center of the world. "Sing the intro to Moon," said Jin firmly. The cheers exploded. Fans fell silent, then screamed hysterically. No one expected that such a gentle act could become a symbolic explosion tearing through the boundaries between the star and the workers behind the scenes. And that's not all. After the guard's captivating singing moment, which, though brief, brought emotional silence across the arena, Jin asked him to choose another fellow security guard to be brought into the spotlight. The concert camera immediately zoomed in on the guard's face. Astonished, surprised, yet proud. Among thousands of faces awaiting a personal moment with their idol, it was a security professional who had been nearly invisible throughout the show that became the spontaneous icon of the night's concert. What is the motive behind Jin's action? There is no official explanation. No narrative was prepared beforehand. Precisely because of its unplanned nature, the moment became deeper. Jin did not choose a guest artist. He did not invite a fellow celebrity. He chose a figure who had stood silently all along, nearly unrecognized, but who had been the backbone of the concert's safety and smooth execution, a security guard. Even more touching, after the concert, fans were seen chasing after the guard to take photos together. Some fans shared that when they greeted him and asked if he knew he would be picked by Jin, the guard replied softly, "No, I had no idea." The fans replied, "You were amazing. You made ARMY proud." His fellow guards even joked, calling him famous now. Laughter and warmth enveloped the backstage area, which was usually cold and full of tension, yet from a sharper and more emotional perspective, Jin's action shows how the power of popularity can be used to elevate the dignity of ordinary people. In one moment, Jin changed the hierarchy of the stage. He gave a voice, literally and symbolically, to those who usually remain out of the spotlight. He didn't just give a microphone. He gave space, respect, and recognition. This phenomenon surely cannot be viewed as a mere entertainment moment. In the global entertainment industry filled with glamour and curated performances, such spontaneous acts are extremely rare. Jin acted without a script, without preparation, and without commercial intent. Yet its impact was greater than thousands of ads trying to demonstrate social empathy. He directly showed how a public figure can use their moment to create symbolic justice. Not long after, the ARMY community flooded social media with praise for the security guard. Selfies with the guard spread widely, with comments such as, "He's the real star tonight," and "Moon never sounded more sincere." Fans' emotions were mixed, between pride, touched feelings, and surprise that Jin could see and lift someone from behind the crowd into the spotlight with just one sentence and one microphone. Entertainment industry experts state that actions like this, though seemingly trivial, have broad social impact. It opens discussions about how concerts are not just places to watch, but also spaces to build solidarity, symbolic justice, and humanity. In a world that moves quickly, where viral moments can disappear in a day, Jin created a moment that will not be easily forgotten. The question now is, will this become a new trend? Will other artists dare to do something similar, touching the invisible line between the stage and its edges? Or can this only be done by someone with social sensitivity like Jin? Clearly, the Newark concert made history not because of its technology, not because of its stage setup or visual effects, but because of one thing: the courage of a star to hand a microphone to someone unprepared, unknown, yet so meaningful. At the end of the concert, when Jin sang Moon, again in its full version, the atmosphere became more silent than before. Many fans cried, not because of the notes or lyrics alone, but because they had just witnessed a real version of what love, recognition, and solidarity mean. Moon was no longer just a song about Jin's closeness with his fans. That night, the song became a symbol of human connection without the boundaries of stage, title, or social status. The concert ended, but that moment lingered. No press conference. No clarification. Only emotional silence that still lingered, even after the arena emptied. Jin made no additional statements. He simply demonstrated something stronger than words, real action that made us all ask, have we truly seen the people around us? This moment was not a gimmick. It was a message, an action, and perhaps a social reflection about who we have ignored all this time. Jin BTS, with one small gesture, touched a space larger than the stage, the space in the human heart that longs for justice, recognition, and warmth, and surprisingly, all of this happened in less than an hour. As the ripple effect from that one spontaneous moment in Newark continued to spread, the question grew louder. Was this really just a coincidence? Or was it something far more deliberate? A silent protest against the cold hierarchy of celebrity, orchestrated in the most unassuming way possible. The man Jin chose had no nameplate known to the public, no social media following, no connection to fame. He was, by all definitions, invisible in the landscape of global stardom. And yet, in the matter of seconds, his image was immortalized on the phones of hundreds of fans. He became a subject of admiration, not because of performance, but because of presence. One fan, who had traveled over 3,000 miles just to attend the Newark stop of the Seokjin _EP tour, recounted the surrealism of the event. I thought I came to see Jin, but in the end, I left thinking about that man in the vest. I think that's the magic of it. Jin reminded us that behind every great performance is a team of people making it possible. And sometimes, one of those people steps into the light. The timing of this occurrence couldn't be more poignant. Jin had just returned to the public eye following his military discharge, and many had wondered how he would re-establish his presence in the high-stakes, hyper-controlled world of K-pop. But this choice, this quiet subversion, suggests that Jin might not be interested in simply re-entering the spotlight. He may, in fact, be aiming to redefine what the spotlight means entirely. Throughout the fan community, discussions erupted, not about vocals or stage effects, but about gratitude, humility, and perspective. Fans began compiling stories of underappreciated staff, from lighting crews to translators to janitors, saying they now understood what ARMY really meant. A force not of blind devotion, but of shared recognition. This was not about making a security guard a celebrity. It was about Jin dismantling the artificial wall between stage and floor, between idol and worker. When he said, "I want someone real," he didn't just mean unscripted. He meant unfiltered by the expectations of image, brand, and market. In that sense, it wasn't the guard who was chosen. It was the idea of untrained humanity, handpicked to reclaim space in a showbiz world that often sterilizes authenticity. Jin's choice triggered something deeper. It questioned why only the rehearsed deserve visibility, why only the beautiful are remembered, why only the expected is allowed on stage. And the response, both from the ARMY and casual observers, was clear. The world is hungry for sincerity. From a business perspective, the moment was immeasurable. No endorsement, no stage prop, no scripted segment could have generated the kind of viral engagement that Jin's unrehearsed act did. But to reduce this moment to metrics would be to miss its power entirely. This was not content. This was commentary. And yet, even as social media buzzed with stories, jokes, and praise, there remained one quiet center in the storm: the security guard himself. According to witnesses, he appeared overwhelmed, almost embarrassed, by the sudden attention. He laughed politely, deflected praise, and, in the most poetic irony, returned to his post as if nothing had changed. But everything had. He now stood not just as a guard, but as a symbol. A living representation of how quickly and radically the lens of fame can be redirected, not by force, but by the simple decision to see someone who was never meant to be seen. Why the next day, the venue received calls asking whether the guard would be on duty again. Some fans speculated that he might be invited to future shows. Others, more cynically, worried that the moment might be commodified. But most fans held a different hope, that the moment would remain pure, untouched by commercial motives, protected like a fragile secret between Jin and the audience. Still, questions persisted. Was this just Jin being Jin, playful, unpredictable, and kind-hearted? Or was it a larger, quiet rebellion against the machinery that constantly defines who gets to be center stage? Did he know the impact it would have? Or did it surprise him too? There were no answers. And maybe that's what kept people talking. The ambiguity of intention, the purity of execution, and the emotional aftermath made it one of the most talked about incidents of the tour. Some called it the Newark uplift. Others referred to the moment simply as Jin's choice. But everyone agreed. Something shifted. Not only in that concert arena, but in the hearts of those who witnessed it. For years, BTS has spoken about love, empathy, and self-worth. Jin, often perceived as the group's comic relief or worldwide handsome frontman, managed to embody all three values in a moment that wasn't choreographed, wasn't styled, and wasn't promoted. And in doing so, he perhaps delivered one of the strongest performances of his career. Without singing a single word, the implications are long-lasting. Artists are watching. So are production teams. If one random gesture could generate such overwhelming positivity and loyalty, what happens when more artists begin making room for the unnoticed? Not just as a gimmick, but as a principle. As Jin continues his tour, speculation grows. Will there be another moment like this? Will he choose another unscripted voice, another unseen face, to share a brief moment in the light? Or was Newark a singular, unrepeatable chapter in the Seokjin tour legacy? Whatever the answer, the precedent has been set. Jin showed that sincerity can go viral, that humility can be heroic, and that even in a world of filters, staging, and calculated perfection, the most powerful moments are often the ones that no one sees coming. What happens next is unclear. But one thing is certain. The guard who stood in silence, handed a mic, and faced thousands without a script, now holds a place in BTS history. Not for being perfect, not for being trained, but for being seen. And in that simple act of being chosen, he reminded us all that dignity isn't earned by spotlight. It's revealed when someone finally turns the light toward you.